And we might have a few more people kind of join us, and that's totally fine. But I wanted to say thank you all for joining me tonight. I am excited to be back with so many of you with another journaling practice, specifically around journaling for productivity and doing a practice that, to be completely honest, when I first heard about gratitude as a practice, I was like, make me vomit. Like, those people are so flowery and whatever. There's no way that crap makes a difference. And I will tell you it does. So we are going to dive into some of the practices I've tried. We're going to give it a whirl with our own journals and just talk about what this experience is all about and why it actually works. Because, yeah, I wouldn't teach it if I didn't believe in it. So for those of you who are new or maybe listening in on the recording, my name is Tiffany. I am a spiritual teacher, a coach, and a mentor. I also do some energy healing. I'm an alchemist. I mean, I feel like I could give you just this like laundry list, but here's the deal. If you like what you experienced today and you want to work together, call me and let's talk. Otherwise, hopefully I'll see you back in future events. So for today, what we are going to do is I'm going to give you a little 3 journal prompt sprint to kind of settle us into this space. We're going to do a little tiny grounding meditation to kind of open us up to the receptivity of being in gratitude. We're going to talk about what gratitude practice is and how to use it for productivity, because I think this is something that people aren't talking about, or at least I've only heard of it in a couple of places. We're going to actually practice it. So we'll get out our journals, practice the gratitude. I'll share a couple other ways to use this work, and then we'll just close with some integration and takeaways. Okay? So let's start. I realize that some people may have been sitting in the same chair all day long. Some people may have been in another part of their home and coming in. But let's just start and kind of like shake out your body. Maybe wiggle your head, shake out your hands, stretching, roll your neck. Maybe wiggle your fingers, your toes. Maybe roll your ankles around. Just enjoy the fact that we get to have bodies. And let's start with, like I said, we're going to do a couple quick journal sprints. So if you want to grab your journal, these will be super quick. If you've been in my journal classes before, you know my recommendation is just to write what comes up. I will send you the questions that we use in an email after this. So you can kind of leave space in your journal. If you're like the kind of person like me, I like to have like, here's my question and then here's my answer. Just leave yourself a little extra space for the question. You can fill it in later. These are going to be quick. We give you like 30 seconds to a minute. First question, what do you need to let go of to fully arrive here? What do you need to let go of to fully arrive here? Start to wrap up that question. Next one, what do I need to call in to fully arrive here? What do I need to call in to fully arrive here? Starting to wrap that one up. Last one, what is your intention for this class? What is your intention for this class? And start to wrap that one up as well. Can we get just like 1 or 2 shares? Something that came up for you in your sprints? Yeah, Leslie.
I need to let go of what I'm going to make for dinner tonight.
Nice.
And my to-do list. I'm very hungry and there's chicken on the counter and a bunch of vegetables and my brain is like, what am I going to do with all that stuff? I want it just to be done while I'm here. Husband. And what I need to call in is presents. And my intention is to create a new journaling ritual because I love journaling rituals and I'm just looking for some fresh prompts.
Beautiful. Awesome. Thank you. Can we get 1 more share? Yeah, Kay.
I will. Hold on. I got to get you guys back here. Okay. I am doing some significant other writing that I was working on right before this. So I have to let that go. And the most important thing for me is to, along there, be present.
Nice. Awesome. Well, on that note, let's go ahead and put pens down, journals down, and let's drop in with a little meditation. And you're welcome to leave your video on or turn it off, totally up to you guys. Let's go ahead, just close your eyes and just start to notice your breath. Just starting to follow that breath in and out. Now I want you just to imagine in your hands you're holding a bowl. You're allowed to put everything that you need to let go of in that bowl. And once you've put all of the things that you're ready to let go of, go ahead and imagine that you're setting that bowl to the side. And I want you to imagine your hands are free. And you can call in whatever you need. And perhaps it lands in your hands. Or perhaps you feel the tingles in your body as it fills your presence. And just allow yourself to sink into your intention for this class. Trusting that we are exactly where we need to be, doing exactly what we need to be doing. Let's go ahead and take a nice inhale in together. Go ahead and let it out. 1 more. Inhale together. Just let it all out. You can blink your eyes back open. Come back into the space. And flip your videos back on if you'd like. So when I was thinking about this class and what to bring into this space, I don't know if I was necessarily aware that we were going to be in the environment that we're in today. And I think the fact that this is the class that's coming through right now is just even more perfect for that reason. Because I feel like, because how many people, when I first started my work as an entrepreneur, I had this to-do list mentality. I would sit down and I would write out, this is all of the things that I'm going to do. And then I would sit down each day and say, okay, here's all of the list of my things that I'm going to do today. And I would get down to the end of the day and realize that I had been distracted. I had done this, I had done that. Then there was this phone call and then this email. And all of a sudden I looked at my list and I was like, I checked maybe 1 thing off the list. And now my list for tomorrow is twice as long. And I would get so frustrated because there was this part of me that was so sick of this never-ending to-do list. And when I started doing the internal work and really started looking at the things that were on my to-do list, I began to notice that there was stuff on there that really didn't have to happen. Stuff that my mind said I should do, that my heart, when it came down to it, was like, that's really not that important. That's not going to move the needle. Yeah, it would be nice, but in the grand scheme of things, is working all the time going to be more helpful than having a balance? And so I started playing with this idea of, what if I don't have a to-do list and just followed my intuition and allowed myself to be pulled in the direction of wherever my heart felt called? And it was a little rocky at first, but things started falling into place way more magically than I could have ever planned. And there were times where I would get a little stuck. There were times where I'd look at my schedule for the day and be like, man, no, I really packed my schedule full. How am I going to get all of this stuff done? And I realized in those moments that when I get into this space where I'm worried about getting everything done, or when I'm, questioning how it's all going to fit, or I'm running around from point A to point B to point D, then back to C, like my energy is all over the place. How often do you try to sit down and read something and you've got, your phone's by your side, you've got the dog in here, and then the laundry dings, and, then the oven's going. Like, there's so many distractions and so many things that are happening. And so what I want to introduce you to today is something that's going to feel really radical. And you're going to think to yourself, this is insane. How is this possibly even going to work? But the beauty of this practice is, when you are in the flow and you are feeling good and you are on top of the world energetically, things just happen and they fall into place. And the thing that I noticed the most, and I'll share kind of my example from yesterday. I woke up and I was supposed to write my newsletter. I was supposed to do some promotion for my breakfast. I had this laundry list of things, and I was really feeling unmotivated. And I was like, okay, when I'm in a state where I'm unmotivated, my writing isn't my best writing. And so I took a step back and said, okay, what would get me into to the right state? And I started with my gratitude practice. And I just started writing pages of gratitude. And this was an idea that I got from Gabby Bernstein. I don't know if any of you have read the book Super Attractor, but it's one of the practices she talks about is pages of gratitude. And when I first heard of the idea of writing gratitude, I was like, whatever. But when I sat down and actually started doing pages of gratitude, I noticed that my spirit lifted, my mood lifted, and all of a sudden I started getting these little intuitive nudges that said, hey, reach out to this person, or send this quick email. And it always amazes me because I'll have these moments where someone pops into my mind. I'll reach out to them and they'll be like, I was just thinking about you. And I'm like, oh yeah, so this gratitude thing, it works. When you're in that flow, you get these pieces of information that when your mind is so busy running circles around itself, it doesn't hear and it doesn't see. So I bring this idea of writing, gratitude because Gabby Bernstein talks about it. I just read this book. It's called Think and Grow Rich by Pam Grout. She talks about it in her book as well, about expressing gratitude for the things that you desire, expressing gratitude for the things that you don't enjoy. I actually started writing thank you letters to my debt. Thank you for allowing me to invest in myself. Thank you for allowing me to go on vacations. And I'm not going to lie, I have felt like I've been dragging a ball and chain full of debt for years. And for the first time in my life, I can see it as happy debt. And I'm not going to lie, it feels so much more lighter and so much more bearable because I can look at my debt as an opportunity to do amazing things in my life while I'm working out a few other details. It's an investment in me, and that's okay. Another person, I'm not sure if anyone listens to Jess Lively. She has a podcast that I have followed for, I think, 2 or 3 years, lots of information there. And she actually shared in one of her podcasts the practice that we're going to do today as well. And then also I'm going to mention Danielle Laporte. If anyone has worked with me, you know I'm a huge fan of the desire map and focusing on finding your core desired feelings. One of the things that she has in her planner each and every day is this bottom line is I am grateful for and because. And I can't help but think all of these people are promoting gratitude for a reason. And so, kind of as I said at the beginning of the class, when I first was introduced to gratitude, I was so skeptical. I was like, these people are full of it. They're flowery. Like, there's no way this stuff works. And I will say I've been practicing gratitude intentionally for about 3 months now. And I would say the thing that has blown me away the most is what my attention has shifted to. Because when I'm looking for gratitude and I'm experiencing gratitude, it's so much easier to be looking at all of the stuff that's going right in my life than to look at all of the stuff that's not going right. I feel like the pandemic and everything that's happening right now is manageable because of the internal work that I've done and the gratitude practice that I have. I mean, I feel so much more blessed now looking at what I have available to me, even though there are restrictions in place as to what I can do with my life. And one of my core values is freedom. So clearly for me, gratitude is working. And I am excited to have all of you here today to practice and explore it. And I hope that this also has a beneficial impact for each and every one of you as well. The part that I kind of mentioned in there is just, and we're going to practice this a little bit, but the way Jess Lively actually mentioned it in her podcast, and I've started to implement in my own practice, is she sits down for her work day and she actually starts with a Word document on her computer and she just types the things that she's grateful for, all of her blessings. She just puts them in there. And then as ideas come to mind, oh, I should reach out to so-and-so about the retreat. Oh, I should reach out to so-and-so about the supplies I need to purchase. Whatever ideas pop into her mind, she, goes over, she does that thing, and then she returns to the gratitude. And she said it just puts her into this state of flow where the things that she needs to do happen naturally. And she said, even in her podcast, that the people that she reaches out to seem to be just the right people that she needs in that moment. Like she doesn't have to hop around person to person to person to get something done that she needs done. Everything just seems to flow a lot easier. So what we're going to practice today is we're just going to drop in for about 5 minutes and write gratitude. And before we do that, I want you to bring that intention back to mind. And while you're writing your gratitude, also notice the other ideas that come to mind. The little pings, the little intuitive hits, the little downloads, whatever you want to call them. Maybe it's, hey, I need to reach out to this person, or, oh, I should trim the dog's toenails, whatever it is. But just write that off in the margin or maybe on a separate page. And for the purpose of our class, we'll kind of stay in the gratitude, but just take note of what information kind of came to you. And then I'll give you kind of like a 1 minute warning and then like a 10-second wrap up warning. But we're just going to drop in here for a little bit, for about 5 minutes, and just write. And you are welcome to stay either like I am grateful for. You can do a list. If you want to do like I am grateful for and then say why. So like I'm grateful for my dog because he gives me snuggles. You can play with this however you want to, and maybe you try a little bit of each one. But yeah, we're just gonna drop in. If you happen to need me, you can jump on. There's the chat feature in here as well. So if you have a question, why don't you reach out to me in the chat? That way people can kind of keep going and we can leave them undistracted. Otherwise, I will let you know as our time ends up. We've got about 1 minute left. Wrap up the thought that you're on. All right. So that was 5 minutes. And I'm curious how that experience was for each of you. If you guys wouldn't mind, maybe just 2 to 3 shares. If we want to do more, we obviously can. But let's start with, what did you think of 5 minutes? Did it go fast? Did it go slow? About what you expected?
It was quick for me.
Quick?
Yeah.
It also go fast for me too.
I think you're on mute, Kay. Were you talking?
It was a lot more time than I realized it was, which fascinates me because normally when I write, time evaporates.
Mm. Okay.
I agree. I feel like I got a lot out in a small period of time. So yeah, it was a good amount of time.
I'm curious, which approach did you guys take? Did you write out like, I am grateful? Did you do a list?
I just did a list because I wanted my mind to be able to kind of go stream of consciousness. And so I just kind of said what I am grateful for and then just kind of rapid fire. But I do really appreciate the idea of like having a to-do list catcher on the side because that could have really distracted me. But since I just, you had prompted us to do that, I was able to then take note of those things that was like, oh yeah, don't forget to do this without it really taking me away from the intention.
Oh, nice. Did you have a number of things that came through, or what was that experience like?
I had a really, really, really long list, yes. And it kind of, wove in and out and back and forth. Like, at first I was grateful for the people that I met with and collaborated with today. And that then flowed into the stuff that my family did today and the help that we received. And, so it just kind of zigzagged, really touching everything from like God and church to my washing machine that dinged it was done while we were going. Like, oh, can you imagine right now if your washing machine was broken? Like that would be so rough. So grateful that I have a working washing machine.
Yeah. Nice. What else did you guys notice?
I think it was kind of cool how kind of what Hillary was saying, like, one thing would come up and then it would like ripple into another thing, and like everything was like a reminder of another thing. So we did more and more gratitude that maybe didn't come to mind initially, but like one person leads to another person and then leads to another place or thing, or yeah. So I saw like a ripple effect with the writing.
Nice. Did you have any, I'm going to call them a ping for lack of a better word, any like little moments to reach out and do something different, or to-do list type items?
Yes, yes. In short, yes.
What else do you guys experience?
I started, I guess in terms of structure, I started just like bullet pointing, and then I guess 3 into that, I was like, I felt more called to like write out the whole sentence. And then I think when a few of them, I like elaborated with the because or the why.
But yeah, it was like it didn't feel like complete like the first few, I think, and so that just made me like write the whole sentence.
Yeah. How was the writing the because versus not? Was there a difference there that you noticed?
Not really. I mean, I think as I was writing, if I felt called to do the why, then I would write it. But I think, you know, if it was maybe like evocative, like if it wasn't obvious, maybe I'm not. Yeah, I'll read through them and kind of see if maybe if it was like a quicker thing to write, then I might think I would have wrote it. But I think like if it was like a longer thing, then I wouldn't have written it.
I feel heavy subjects in negativity feel less heavy to when I look at it through a gratitude lens. So I wrote down, I'm grateful for my self-guilt, self-doubt, self-judgment, saying recently I should be doing something, should have done something, should do the productive and fruitful activity. Like, thank you for trying to keep me being a productive person. I appreciate your intention. And I feel relief after that.
There's such great power in acceptance. And I think accepting all parts of ourselves and folding all of those in allows us to experience more of the human spectrum. And so I'm so glad that you mentioned that, because I think so often people are like, oh, I don't want to talk about that part of myself, and we push it away. But we are all parts. We're the full spectrum. And if we try to close off one part of it, we're missing out on that gift, like you said. So I'm so glad that you brought that to this class. Thank you, Cleb.
Thanks, Tiffany.
What else do you guys notice? Yeah, okay.
I seemed compelled to write why I was grateful, which is interesting because I have done gratitude writing before, and with few exceptions did I write why. However, in the last several months of my life, have been asking myself why about all kinds of things. Why am I doing this? And so I think answering the question why is becoming very important to me.
Nice. What did that change for you in the gratitude practice?
What did it change? It made it clearer to me. And that is true about life in general, because sometimes I am unable to answer why. So if I don't know the answer, why in the hell am I doing it? And sometimes I don't like the answer. And so I have to decide whether that answer is how I want to proceed with that information. It's really powerful for me.
I will say, when I started doing the practice of I am grateful for, and then writing because and filling in the why, it helped me really get clear on what my values were and what my priorities are and what really makes a difference to me. And there were things that I can look back and see that were common threads that I wasn't aware of before. And I think even too, if you made this a practice and included that, because I think it would be curious to see, or interesting to see, how that shifts as our environment shifts, and how, you know, if you're having a really stressful week, what are the gratitudes that you have and why? If you're having a really high flying week, what are your gratitudes and why? Because I feel like our experience, you know, when we capture it in the journal, we capture so much information about who we are and what we need in those moments. And, you know, how often do you get a chance to really ask for what you need? And even before that, like, how often do you really know what you need? And so, using this gratitude practice as a way to see, like, are you needing a lot of tangible physical things right now? Like, are you talking about the roof over your head, the soft blankets on your couch, or are you talking about the food in your body, or are you talking about the people in your life? And thinking about, like, is this something that I want more of? Is it something I want less of? Am I feeling like I'm in good relationship with this area of my life? Gratitude comes up for me. Coffee. I love a good cup of coffee. It's something that's warm, it's earthy, it just makes me feel like I'm awake, I'm in my body, I'm having this beautiful, wonderful experience with just a cup of brown liquid. And realizing just how important that is to me for each day. And so I make it a ritual, I make it something special. It's not just a cup of coffee. So looking at what comes through sometimes will allow you to see, if you're writing the same thing over and over again, if there's one person, for example, who shows up over the course of a week repeatedly, maybe you send that person a card, maybe you shoot them a text, maybe you record a funny little video and shoot it over to them that says, hey, I've been thinking about you all week and I want you to know that I appreciate you. Because it's those little moments that create the ripple effect that really does change the world. That got really big. So I kind of feel like I want to try on this gratitude, and because it sounds like not everyone got to that point. You guys want to try that? We'll do just a shorter, like a 2-minute window. And you're welcome to either start a new list or just go through the list that you had before and write in next to it, or kind of filling out the why. But we'll go for 2 minutes, filling in the why or creating a new list. I'm grateful for because. About 30 seconds left. Start to wrap that up. All right, let's get some reflections. How was that compared to the first gratitude practice? See, Leslie's shaking her head. You're on mute. Here you go.
I do, and I agree. I think it was Kay who said it, wanting to know that why, rather than just making a list. So maybe it's like, go back to this, like, in a week or in a month or in a year, and you're like, who is that person and why did I write their name down, you know? So it's like, I think having that why is really important. And it just kind of solidifies the gratitude. So yeah, I really enjoyed that part.
I can see where, like, depending on where I'm at, one is going to be more beneficial than another. So, for example, if I'm feeling a little bit down, like in that pity party state, I think just a brain dump of gratitude would be super helpful. Like, oh my gosh, look at all of this. Whereas if I'm feeling really stuck with something specific, that then really being able to dive in to, this is why I'm grateful for this. So I actually only got 2 done with the I'm grateful for because, and one of them was money. And I've been working really, really hard on money mindset as an entrepreneur, and to be able to dive into something that you're sort of struggling with and explore the gratitude is just super beautiful. So I think that it's so lovely to have multiple tools when it comes to gratitude to be able to pull out.
Yeah. Was there anything that shifted about the money beliefs by doing that?
I think that so grateful for, because one of the things that I wrote was to treat myself, and that has been super taboo for me. And so I kind of smiled when that came out, and I was like, it is okay if, you know, when I start making money, I do treat myself, because I think that I'd been working through, like, it's okay to have money because then you can bless others and then you can give and all of these things. And that's, I'm really, really excited about, but also because, like, I came out in that journaling, that was new because I haven't really let myself go there.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. What else did you notice?
I noticed that there were kind of some common threads and common, you know, like a few of them pointed more to like grounding and stability in these times. You know, I mean, I think it like highlights that they're values, but it also highlights that, yeah, that they're needed, I guess. Yeah.
Okay. Amy, were you going to say something? Oh, hold on. Let me unmute you. Okay, go ahead.
Perfect. I actually do this practice because I'm a big fan of Jess Lively.
Oh.
So when I do it, I appreciate, and I say everything that I appreciate that comes to me, like stream of conscious, like we talked about. And when I do that, it gets me like into alignment. So it helps me to elevate my emotion just by saying, I appreciate, I appreciate, I appreciate, I appreciate. And it's very immediate and physical, instead of like, sometimes when I want to think about what I'm grateful for, I get really contemplative and try to be more like, what? Like deep. So this appreciation thing helps me just get into that elevated emotion. And what Tiffany's teaching is totally right, because I'll get the ping I'll write my to-do list first, and then I'll get that ping to do that email I really didn't want to write, and I'm just ready for it. When I wrote the becauses after, I really liked that because it helps me to be that specificity of it. Let's see, like, oh, sorry if you heard my cat. She's very loud. Like, I think I appreciate my body, and then because it heals. So it's like, puts value on the thing, and it sort of emphasizes, and then that makes me remember in a bigger way. So the because part, I think, is really great. Again, I think, Hillary, you said it, when you want to sort of like dive deep. So that helped me dive deep. Thank you.
Any other reflections?
Okay, go away.
I think the other reason why the because portion is super helpful is when you're thinking about productivity, it's always good to prioritize And when you know what your values are and you know what's important to you and you know what's coming up in your gratitude pages because it really makes you feel good, when you look at those things, that's information and knowledge that you can use. Like, let's say you have to write an email to somebody that's really uncomfortable. Okay, well, I know that snuggling with my dog makes me feel really good and makes me feel really grounded. It makes me feel really loving. So maybe if I do that for just a couple minutes and then go write my email, I'll be in a better mental state, you know, kind of getting into that higher vibrational state, kind of like Amy was mentioning. I think when we're so in the weight of the worry and in the fear and in the scarcity and, oh, I don't know how this person's going to take this, the energy that we write our information from, that energy translates. It's the same thing whether you're talking with someone, doing something, creating something. I mean, we have some really powerful creators, makers in this group. And I'm sure you know there's a difference when you make a piece of jewelry and you're in your space that you're like flying and happy versus, you know what I mean? So there's a difference in your work. And I know, I mean, I'll send emails out to people and I'll get people who are like having kind of a rough day, huh? And I'm like, yeah, you could read it, huh? I mean, we're all energetically sensitive. You can see it. And you can also see when people are just in their joy and in their happiness. And I'm not saying like bypass all the crap and pretend you're happy if you're not. I'm not saying that at all. But when it comes to doing work, especially if it's creative work or if it's money work, you know, when you're in your state of joy, you attract more joyful things. And I think that is one of the reasons I really wanted to bring this practice to people, is that just create differently. I think we're so taught and conditioned that everything has to be a certain way. And I mean, I spent 15 years in corporate America, and it was meeting after meeting after meeting, to-do list, to-do list, to-do list. Here's your deadlines. There was no space for the divine feminine in the business that I did. It was all masculine, all action oriented. And that's just how I was trained. I will tell you that moving into the space that I'm in now, where I get to surrender, I get to be in flow, I get so much more done in so much less time. It's like I can see all the shortcuts that when I was sprinting down the path of like, just get shit done, I couldn't see. Has anyone else kind of felt that or kind of noticed that in their own? Seen a couple of head nods. Tiffany's giggling. I feel like you got a story there.
Go ahead. She might be.
Would anyone like to? I feel like there's something that wants to come out. Tiffany.
It just needs to unmute because she was talking.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yep, we're not hearing you. Try again. No, I can't.
Does she have her computer on the speaker on?
No.
Mm.
Oh. Bummer. If it's quick, you want to drop it into the chat, we can read it. Okay. Are there any questions? Anything that's come up for you guys as you're kind of letting this sink in? If not, that's totally okay. I want to close, as if you guys didn't already have enough journaling, I want to close with 3 questions. Just because if you've worked with me before, you know that integration is important to me. And I feel like what we do here needs to go beyond this time and space to reach the other parts of our lives. So I like to ask questions. So I'm going to give you, we'll do about 30 seconds to a minute. Actually, we'll do about a minute for each one. There's 3 questions. Just spend some time with your journal. What did I learn about myself today? What did I learn about myself today? About 10 seconds left. Wrapping that one up. Your next question is, what was my biggest takeaway? What was my biggest takeaway? About 10 seconds left for that one. Wrapping that one up. Last question. What one action am I going to commit to taking as a result of this class? What action am I going to commit to taking as a result of this class?
Kitty, what's wrong?
About 10 seconds left. Wrapping that one up as well. And I'd love to hear from two or three people. Kind of a reflection, takeaway, or what if you'd like to be witnessed in the action or the commitment that you'd like to make. Anyone? Emily?
Yep, there we go. Sorry. I think for me, what's challenging, staying in the same house, and if you're not switching rooms or you're not it was powerful to kind of like come in and land, shake it out, ground before a new action, but kind of getting present before and leading with intention before starting something new. And so that has been really eye-opening for me. I'm like, oh, I actually need that when I switch tasks throughout my day. So that was really powerful. Thank you.
Okay.
Tiffany, I resonated very much with what you said about corporate America. I spent 3 times longer than you did there. And I have really come to understand that for me, it needs to happen organically. And anytime I try to push to make something happen, it never works nearly as well as when it's organic. And I feel as though this whole process we've done today is organic.
Okay. Yeah, Tiffany, I was just reading your comment. Beautiful. I like it. I usually have one of your candles on my, or not your candles, one of Leslie's candles on my desk as well. How about one more share? Anyone? Cloud, were you going to say something before?
Oh, I was about to share that I'm taking away the I am grateful for because when I feel the need to just tune into my inner self and see what I need, I really appreciate the insight from you that maybe just noticing the pattern that after the because could help seek some insight into what I truly want right now at this moment. Yeah. I'm also letting go of my self-guilt and the need to should have or should be doing something better. I resonate with your first line in the meditation that we are exactly where we need to be. Yeah. Thank you, Tiffany.
You're welcome. Beautiful. Awesome. Is there any other comments, adds? That is all that I have today. If you are new to this, my master classes are unlike the webinars that are out there a lot. I have nothing to sell you. I have nothing to force you to buy next. I have nothing that I have withheld and I want you to click on to go to and do. This is it. Yay. If you enjoyed today, and you would like to write me a little testimonial that I can include in for future masterclass promotions, that would be awesome. I would also love your support in just letting other people know that this is available. I will be sending you an email. It will have a copy of this recording. You are more than welcome to share this with anyone that you think might benefit. I will also have the questions in there so you can fill in kind of the spaces in your journal if that's something that you enjoy. Other than that, I will hopefully see you again. I'm doing the master classes once a month. I think there's going to be another offering that's folding in here, the Sacred Journal Space, which I know some of you participated in. I have a feeling that wants to come back, just not sure exactly in what format or time frame. So I believe most of you are on my mailing list. If you're not, I will make sure you get a link to that, and that way you can join and see as these events pop up and become available. But other than that, I'm just so grateful that you guys were all here today with me. Always a pleasure. And I wish you a beautiful rest of your evening.
Thank you.
Everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.